Good morning. It is Monday, December 1st. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. We have a special guest today. It's been too long since he's been on the show. Todd Caputo co-hosting, going to tell us how to get back to basics, how to make successful sales through the holiday season, how to not get burnt out as a dealer operator, and everything else you ever wanted to know. Todd is ready to go. Todd, good morning. Oh, no.
I can't hear you.
Oh, my gosh, he can't hear me. He didn't hear all the good things I just said about him. Let's see if it's not something on my end. I don't think. Nathan, are you hearing me? Chime in, Nathan.
I'm hearing Paul fine. I'm hearing Todd fine.
So let's play a game. It's called What Do You Think the Actual Problem Is? He's going to call you right now.
Yeah, he's texting me.
All
okay.
Right.
Should I have him rejoin real quick?
What was that? Yeah, please. Okay. Yeah. All right. So while Nathan's doing that, I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving season. We've just been here getting back into the office, checking back in with everybody, and everyone's saying kind of the same thing. They had a great Thanksgiving. We at More Than Cars, we were off on Friday to give everybody a little bit of an extended break, and people coming back into the office, a little bit ready to go for December. Now, granted, me and the family came in over the weekend. We set up the Christmas tree here in the office. I wish I could set up a Christmas tree. It would be creepy. But, a big portion of our team is remote as well. So we have, probably close to 20 people coming into the office every day. And then we have like another 10 who are remote. And it'd be creepy if I set up a Christmas tree in their house. I'll let them get down to that. But a few things going on today. Todd, we still can't hear us. Still in out. I don't know what's going on. Can't hear me. I don't know, Nathan. We're live streaming, right?
We're live streaming. Yeah, we're live.
Why don't you let me run with the show?
Okay.
And maybe you can give Todd a call, and
I can try that.
When you chime in, you can jump into the show yourself too. Whatever.
Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. He's rejoined.
We're gonna have Todd rejoin. We have a few things going on tomorrow, December 2nd. We are going to be on the ground at Merge 2026. This is an event that a lot of people probably haven't heard of, put on by the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, and this is going to be at the press. Oh, what's it called? The press room? No, it's not the press room.
The National Press Club.
The National Press Club. And it's right across, pretty much right across the street from the White House. So we're going to have a number of speakers, OEMs from all across.
I can't hear me,
all across the probably from across the world. And we're going to have some members of Congress. We're going to have some senators. We're going to have some Congress people. And we are going to be going live to podcast there at the event. So you know how it goes. We'll be pulling people aside, having some in-depth conversations after they get off the main stage. Much thanks to our friends at Alliance for Automotive Innovation for inviting us, and John Bazzello, who is pretty frequently on the show and on the content, and he's always fun to have. What else is going on? Oh, we have an upcoming ASOTU Edge webinar on Wednesday, December 10th. This is one that you want to pay attention to. We're going to be talking about Lithia's blueprint, basically evaluating and transitioning to variable cost service transportation with our friends at Uber for Business. We're going to be talking with category manager of procurement, John Church, for Lithia. So one of the things I love about this industry so much is that people are willing to share what they're doing because they know that a better experience makes the entire industry better. So we even have people like the head of procurement in the category for Lithia sharing why Uber for Business is actually helping them out. And one of the things we're going to talk about on this is how to measure when it's time to look at maybe some other transportation options aside from the shuttles and the way we've been doing it. Because why would we do it the way we've always done it? We all know the market's changing. We all know people want something different, and scrambling to see what's new, or at least maybe not scrambling, but maybe just being committed and dedicated to seeing what's new next is something that helps us get going. We're going to see if we can get Todd in here again. I mean, I could get into the first story, but you know what? I think I'm going to get into the first story. And when Todd joins, we're just going to get back into it. That's what we do. So this is the Wall Street Journal this morning. I think when we talk about Wall Street Journal articles, it's very important that this isn't something that we're talking about in a dealer-focused news outlet. This is the Wall Street Journal, so that means it has much more broader appeal, and it kind of talks to broader topics and broader sentiment, not in a bubble. And basically what they're saying is American car buyers are finally tapping the brakes after years of paying whatever it took to get into a new car. Stretched consumers are hitting affordability ceilings and forcing both dealers and OEMs to rethink what demand really looks like heading into 2026. So shoppers are shifting down market, basically, is what they see happening. Buying used cars, taking longer loans. We know this already from the F&I desk. Delaying purchases. That's the important part here. And gravitating toward lower price models like the Chevy Trax. Industry projections for 25 and 26 are softening as tariffs, inflation, and tighter labor markets cool big ticket spending. Also, we're looking at a rising day supply prompting deeper discounting, while lower income borrowers are falling behind on payments, sometimes to historical levels. Some reports I've been seeing in overall vehicle spending dropping year over year is the prediction. Retailers reporting weaker new vehicle margins through service traffic. Those service traffic is climbing as more owners are trying to stretch those aging vehicles. One dealer, Robert Pleiter, says people are asking, how can I afford this? There are people who are in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. This is just a continuation of the things we've been seeing, the things that even our friend Jonathan Smoke called this bifurcated market. There are people that are doing fine. They're buying the full trims. They're buying the high-level stuff. And then there are folks that are just really struggling to figure out how they're going to afford the new vehicle. You know, we see a lot of service departments pivoting and moving in this season to say, all right, if people are keeping their vehicles longer, this really should call us to an increased level of communication in our service departments and understanding when it is to pull that trigger, right? Because obviously we don't want to talk about keeping your car longer if we're trying to sell more cars. But at the same time, if someone cannot buy a new car, what we really want to do is make sure that they can keep their car being serviced with us. Todd, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, Todd, we got
What
Todd
the
Caputo
heck?
back in. I don't know. It's technology. It's December 1st. What are we supposed to do?
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. You know what? Look, if that's the hardest part of the day, we're doing a great job already.
Absolutely.
So, Todd, you've been running around all over the place. I was just talking about this Wall Street Journal story where affordability is just continuing to be an issue. People are starting to default on some payments on vehicles. They're prolonging purchase decisions. They're increasing the terms on their loans. You, when you ran your dealerships, you were an expert on trying to find the right car for the right person across all buying levels. Your used car business, your standalone used car business, just you stocked vehicles of all ranges, and it always, you got the shirt on today, Used Car King, which is, I love it, bringing me right back.
Yeah.
So
good
how
old
are
days.
you approaching this situation in this market in this time when people are dealing with these struggles?
I can tell you what I'm seeing now, because I mean, obviously doing consulting, I'm still in dealerships quite a bit. I mean, look at when I was in business, times were it was different, right? It was 2020, 2019, 18, and things were just less expensive. Cars were not as expensive, cost of living was not as expensive. So here's what I think is going to happen. Number one, I think you're going to see leasing come back. It's got to. I think you're going to see the manufacturers probably get very aggressive with leasing, as they should, and it won't just be with EVs. People can't afford the average price of a used car is like 31, 32 grand right now retail.
Mhm.
The average price of a new car is pushing like 50 grand.
Oh, what, over 50 grand this morning?
Yeah, so I mean, come on. I mean, you know, the sweet spot for us when I was in business was $300 a month or less, right? Like that was the sweet spot. That's what people can afford. And you don't see payments like that anymore.
Nope.
And if you're going to buy a $300 a month used car, you're buying a $18,000 used car, which doesn't get you much.
No,
It
it
just
doesn't.
doesn't. So, well, as a dealer, what do you got to be able to do? Recondition, put together older trade-ins, be able to acquire older cars off the street from your database, from just consumers in your service drive, maybe cars that they own that are not in the dealership that you're getting from a garage expansion through software. Like there's a lot of ways to do it, but you got to be able to have those cars to sell to people, because um, that's what people can afford. I mean, especially when it comes to a used car. When it comes to new cars, you're going to have to be able to lease them because they're just too expensive. And the manufacturers are going to need to figure something out. They're going to need to find a way to cut costs or sell lesser expensive vehicles. You're probably going to see all. Remember how sedans all of a sudden disappeared? All of a sudden, they all got rid of these inexpensive sedans.
Yeah, we don't
People
want
don't want them
sedan anymore, right?
They got rid of wagons.
That's
They got rid
all
of
that
sedans.
I'm seeing those advertised so much, like over the holidays. A lot of Honda Accords commercials actually is what I saw during the football games, where it's like back to that price point that you were talking about. They're It's like 4,000 down and like 259 a month, right?
Yeah.
Back to a sedan.
Who's got $4,000 down this time of year? It's
Yeah,
Christmas,
it's
right? Am I buying Christmas presents? Or am I going to get a car? I will
yeah,
buy a car if my car is dead. And if my car is not dead, I'm probably gonna wait, right? Especially this time of year, I will tell you, you're gonna get a
hardest
lot
time.
of people that are just starting to look, and they're already thinking about what they're going to get back for their tax return. And I sat in on a webinar from Jonathan Smoke about 3 weeks ago, and I've been reading about this. They are predicting that there's going to be a lot of money out there in tax returns in the spring. And I've been telling everybody right now, the used car market has been dipping,
Mhm.
and I'd be buying used cars right now if it was me, because I think used cars are going to be hot in the spring. And I think it's going to be a really hot used car market because you're going to see some serious tax return money coming back. And long-term follow-up, if you're a dealer right now, I'm telling all my clients this, if I was still in business, I'd be very focused on long-term follow-up, because you're going to get a lot of leads, a lot of people shopping now. For the next 60 days or so, you're going to get tax return people. I'm waiting on my tax return. Well, we all know that a lot of dealers are not great at follow-up, especially long-term. I would be very, very, very focused on that,
Yeah,
because you will have down payments.
so you'd be beefing up used car inventory now,
Oh yeah,
knowing
yeah.
that it's going to be a bigger than it's been tax return year, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, during COVID, we had all this free money kind of walking around. It's been a little slim, but now you're like, it's going to be good. There's going to be bigger checks this year.
There will be bigger checks this year. I think interest rates are probably going to come down as well, which will help. I think you're going to see a lot of incentives from the manufacturers. They're going to have to if they want to move some inventory, which they're going to need to do. I think leasing is going to come back. But I'm going to tell you right now, you've got to learn how to follow up properly if you're a dealer, especially longer term, and also prospecting, mining your database, really working the service drive hard, and being extremely disciplined, and be able to recondition older, higher mileage pre-owned cars, like, for sure. But
Let me,
the old 60-day rule, we got to get rid of a car in 60 days. I'd be holding it. Like, I would not just go cash in cars unless you really, really have to.
so that is a huge indicator that times are changing, because people were dying on that 60-day hill. But now you're saying look a little bit further over the horizon, especially heading into tax season, knowing that you might be holding on to some gold and understanding which vehicles those are and making sure they're ready to sell and you already bought them right. So you can kind of keep and holding them. I have one more question for you.
Sure.
The talk about consumers staying in a car longer. How do you balance that dealership communicating to a customer that, if from a service lane angle, saying, hey, like, you want to keep that car longer, great, we can help you make sure it's riding great and it's in safe shape. And like, how do you balance that communication from a service drive when you're also trying to sell them a new car?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you just have to be transparent with people and see what they can afford, right? Somebody comes in and they got to spend $2,000 to keep their car to pass state inspection, especially in certain states. If there's a check engine light on, I won't pass inspection. If it's going to cost 1,500 or $2,000 and the car's got 100,000 miles on it, this is what it's going to cost you, right?
Mhm,
These are future potential costs. We have all kinds of data right now,
mhm.
right? We know that certain cars have certain things that fail. Certain year, make, model, trims, they fail for a variety of reasons. We can show that to a consumer and say, all right, you can spend $2,000 now, but these are some of the common things in your car that could potentially fail in the next 6 months, year, 2 years. AI can easily do that. Like right now, you could do it in the drive with any AI.
Mhm.
Show them that versus,
Yeah.
okay, you can go into a newer, either a brand new or later model, lower mile used car, or even a 50 or 60 or 70,000 mile used car that has relatively current technology, that's safer, that has less of a fail rate, and then let them choose at the end of the day. Or be able to, if they want to fix it, make sure you're really good at selling them, a payment plan. There's a lot of companies out there that offer, you know, uh, if you got a
Sure. The
service bill of two
financing.
grand, you can pay
Yeah.
pay over time.
Right. A much more feasible way to maybe keep your car longer is if you can pay it off over the next 6 to 12 months. And then that communication, as it grows and as the trust builds, right? Like, you just make sure you're there when they need a new one and you communicate them. So when the
Yeah.
time is right, you're there for them.
And it goes back to, like, look at it. If you're a technician, you really should do a good inspection of a car, a really good
Mhm.
multi-point. You really should be using video, all the tools that we have that all the dealers pay a lot of money for,
Mhm.
photos, videos, communication with the customer back and forth, being able to show them exactly what the car needs. And, if you're a writer, same thing, right? Like be able to communicate with the customer, build that trust and show them, this is what your car needs. But on the flip side, right, have someone dedicated to the service drive or multiple drives if you've got a large store. Where you could be making people offers on their cars. And that to me is really, really important, because the auction game is still very, very competitive and will stay that way, because used cars are just going to be short for a long time. It's just, we get another year and a half of a shortage of used cars, if not longer.
Man, that's great insight. First thing on a Monday morning, December 1st. We got one more story that I thought would be very appropriate because of kind of how you're wired and the things you get into. The all-terrain SUV segment heating up as BMW and Audi both preparing to challenge icons like the Jeep Wrangler, Bronco, the G-Wagon, and the Defender, looking to tap into this growing niche that doesn't seem so niche at all. After all, the off-road segment seems to be booming. 9 core models totaled 371,000 sales through Q3 2025, on pace for a record post-pandemic. Wrangler and the Bronco remaining at the top. Audi's going to be building its first true off-roader on the upcoming Scout Terra Traveler platform in South Carolina, offering both full EV and that E-Rev range extending option with the generator. BMW has a G74 aimed straight at the G-Wagon. Analysts are saying styling, not specs, are going to make or break the newcomers. Anything too close to the G-Wagon risks a little bit of immediate pushback. Here's a quote from S&P Mobility's Sam Fiorino. Said, adding true off-road capability to SUVs will attract buyers, but whether that investment pays off is the challenge. You've sold a lot of Jeeps, a lot of Broncos. You have a variety. You have a whole garage full of cars. You're into this stuff. You have a van that's kitted out. What do you think of this emerging off-road trend we're seeing, not just from the big makes, but even like the Kias, where you have these X-Drive, X-Line Tellurides and things like that? What are you seeing in this market?
I mean, at the end of the day, how many people are really taking these things off the road or just want to look cool? I mean, come on.
Very few.
Yeah, I mean,
10% or less.
If you're driving down the highway or you go to a parking lot and you see a whole bunch of Wranglers, how many Wranglers or Broncos do you see that are all mudded up versus the ones that are clean? And who's driving them? Right. They're going to the grocery store. They're back and forth to work. They look cool, but not very many people are taking those vehicles off the road. Will they sell? Yeah, they'll sell because people like to look cool. If you have the money, right, and you can have an off-road looking vehicle and want to feel young again, like a guy like me who's going to be 54 and
is that old now?
For 2 weeks, right? I'll be 54. So
see, it doesn't seem old to me. That means I'm old.
Yeah. So if you want to look cool, that's fine. But not that many people are taking them off road. But look at it's for some of the manufacturers that haven't really built those kind of off-road cars anymore. I mean, why not? If it's just a matter of adding some accessories onto a car, doesn't really cost them all that much, and they could probably put quite a spread in there to make some money with them. People buy them.
No one really. You're saying no one really cares about the off-road specs except for when they're on the sheet. I used to say, and I still say, there are two types of people: men who buy pickup trucks, men who are rugged, and men who want to feel rugged. You know what I mean? And there's something about it. And yeah, maybe you'll only ever haul 3 bags of mulch in the back of it, but boy, when you do, you feel, oh, let me pull around the pickup, right?
I mean, look, pickup trucks come in handy, right? They definitely,
except when you're trying to park them in a parking garage.
Yeah, it's exactly. You're right. But I mean, let's look at the Lexus GX, right? Look at this GX 550. You still there's a wait list for these things. They came out almost 2 years ago, and there's still a wait list to get a GX 550. If you want a luxury plus or a premium plus, you're waiting. There's people on wait lists. They're still getting sticker or better for them. I mean, why? No one, they're not getting taken off road. But they
just
look
cool.
Tough.
They
got
look
that
tough.
cool boxy look. But that goes back to affordability, right? Who can afford $60, $70, $80, $90,000? There's a huge swing out there of people that really, have the money that can afford these kind of vehicles versus those that don't. And there's a lot more out there, in my opinion, where there's a market of the, let's call it the have-nots. And I hate to use that term, but the simplest way for me to explain it, it's the haves versus the have-nots. And the have-not market right now is being underserved. And I think you're going to see the manufacturers come back because they're going to realize that
that's where the volume is.
That's where the volume is, and that's where they have to. And it's not just building cars for rental car companies. They got to build sedans, small SUVs that people can afford, and they got to be able to lease them or put them on the street for between $300 and $400 a month, with a couple grand down, maybe $3,000 tops, and that's all people can afford. That's it. If it's going to be a new car, and if it's going to be a used car, it's like we're talking about before. You got to be able to source them, and you got to be able to recondition them, and you have to be able to market them and price them aggressively, like quickly.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things and biggest challenges. It's easy to look at the OEMs and say you're not making what we need, but the OEM typically has to make cars for the today's market or a little bit yesterday's market, right? Because they have to tool up to do it. So when we get in a situation like this, they can only react to it because they can't build cars for next year or 2 years from now. They have to build cars for today, but typically that means they're a little bit behind building cars for like 6 months and a year ago's market. And then they have to react. I think you're right. They're going to react. It's going to be exciting to see leasing come back. And I think everyone's going to be excited about that because then that starts the whole cycle again. Todd, thank you so much for jumping in the day after Thanksgiving Day weekend. We're going to have you on a lot. We want to talk about your NADA sessions, but for now, back to basics. Pay attention to your numbers and pay attention to the market.